Welcome back to the For Today Sports Radio Show.
Let's talk some puck.
Oh, yeah. Buckle up for the cup, baby. It's playoff time. Right now on the line, we've got Adam Laskaris coming in from Ontario. You can follow him on Twitter at Adam_Laskaris. That's Laskaris. What's going on, Adam?
Not too much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you got it, man. Now, you caused a little bit of controversy here in the greater metropolitan area of New York City, New Jersey, with your article. I thought it was a great article. But, what kind of reaction did you get from this from Devils fans? And then, I guess, fans of, or haters of Brodeur, even.
Yeah, well, I read the article. It was, for those who haven't read it, it's about, the title of it is Exposing Martin Brodeur, the NHL's most overrated goaltender.
That's correct. Yeah, I guess I didn't do too good a job of explaining what was going on here, but go ahead.
Yeah, so I wrote the article with that, and when you throw out a headline like that, you know you're going to stir the pot. People who read it, they're like, if you get anyone who reads it who is a fan of Brodeur, you're not going to see a headline like that and not get a reaction. And I think a lot of people seem to think that I wrote it because I hate Brodeur, but I'm going to be honest. The only time I've ever cheered against him is when he's been playing the Leafs, when I've been a fan of them.
Right.
I don't have anything against Martin Brodeur. The only thing that I wrote against him in the article was his ability to stop a puck, which is kind of important to be a goaltender. And
a little bit.
What do you mean?
And I think it kind of picked up with a lot of people. I know, the magnitude and the exposure it got, I was kind of a bit blown away. I've written 3 articles prior to that for that website, and I think I'd gotten a view count of maybe 200 for each article. And then, in the past 3 days since I wrote the article, it's currently got over 4,000 likes, so that's 4,000 people that like it on Facebook. And then there's been, I've gotten so many tweets, I've gotten so many negative comments about it too. So,
well, hold on. First of all, the website that you can go check this article out is thehockeywriters.com. You can check out all of Adam's articles, including the one about Brodeur that we're talking about right now.
Yeah, it's interesting because, like I said, I started off my whole life I've been supporting the Leafs, but the weird thing about being a Leafs fan is there's so much coverage out there that, my passions have been sports writing for a while, but I've noticed that it's really hard to break into the field if you're just talking about the Leafs because everyone's talking about them, and you're not really going to get anything interesting, and you're not going to get anything that's different from anybody else. So when I started with this website, I told the guy, I said, hey, can I cover the Colorado Avalanche? And he said, sure. I have no connection to the Avalanche in my life. I used to like George Sakic when I was younger. Maybe that's it. I like a couple of their players now.
Oh, that was a great team back then. Sakic, Forsberg.
Yeah, they had this guy named Patrick Waugh. Yeah. They were a great team. I liked them as a kid. I used to follow them, but if they win or lose, at the end of the day, they win or lose. I'm just trying to write a couple stories on them. So I started off like that. The website, just a little plug for it. It's basically just a collection of people who like to write about hockey. That's what it is. It's called the Hockey Writers. Wow. I'd say 95% of the people, they write about the teams they like because they're fans of the team. But I think when I was writing this article, I noticed so many people made up things about the article that were about me, and it wasn't about the article themselves. I got accused of being a Rangers fan. I got accused of being an Avalanche fan. I got accused of being a Brodeur hater simply because of I wasn't happy with his happy with the way he stopped the puck. All I did was I talked about his save percentage numbers for the most part and how they're consistently lower year by year over his career compared to other goalies in the NHL.
Well, yeah.
That's the biggest knock I had on him, and I've been laughing so hard at some of the comments of people because they think I didn't consider their arguments. Oh, Brodeur had this many wins. Oh, he had this many shutouts. They're both record-setting numbers. I'm not trying to knock anything he's done in his career. I got accused of just trying to pick stats only to show Brodeur in a negative way. This fight, I literally said everything I could say about him in the most positive way possible. I talked about all his Stanley Cup wins. I talked about all those things. I don't think he's a bad goaltender. I don't think any of those things are unwarranted, but I just think he's created a hype that's so much bigger than himself, and people don't really see how he got to all those places. They just see how many.
Yeah, no, I think I agree with you. I mean, I think that it's funny that once you write a critical piece about a superstar, or
a legend,
a legend in many people's eyes, everybody's always like, "Oh, you have a personal vendetta against him. You're a hater. You're a different team's fan base." But all you're trying to do is just bring up a different viewpoint that might not be out there. And I think you did a great job doing it. I mean, we're in Bayonne, New Jersey here. I mean, a small town. I mean, next to New York City.
Oh, I told him beforehand.
And I was at a bar last night. And somebody pulled this up on their phone, a Rangers fan talking about it, and then there was a Devils fan at the end of the bar, and they started going back and forth about it. I mean, so, obviously it hit home with a lot of people. I saw it on Facebook today. So I think you did a great job. And, I mean, I think all the points that you bring up are valid arguments. I mean, there's numbers in there that say, hey, these are just the facts. I'm putting it out there. You might just be missing the small details and all the other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think my age came into the factor a lot of the time because, I mean, I'm 18 years old. I mean, I don't have a resume, but I think.
Oh, we'll work on one for you. Don't worry, we got you.
The thing is, the article's not about me. It's about Martin Brodeur and how other goalies have done a better job at stopping the puck. And I think that all I tried to do was I tried to analyze the stats, and I mean, I tried to analyze all those things that go into making a great goaltender. And when I looked at the end of it, I thought save percentage, in my opinion, is the best way that you could ever judge a goaltender because it's literally if you were to take Hasek in his best day and you were to take Brodeur in his best day, Hasek would stop more shots than Brodeur. That's all save percentage is. And
yeah,
I mean, when you look at that and you look at Brodeur, a guy who he played 20 years in the league and he was only the top 10 in stopping the puck. In that regard, 6 times in his career, and Hasek was able to lead the league in save percentage 6 times. I mean, there's kind of a bit of a difference there. So for me, Hasek was the main guy that I wanted to push the argument with. But I feel if I just write Dominik Hasek is the best goalie ever,
yeah, it doesn't get as much. It doesn't get as much play.
You might get 2 or 3 likes on that, because Buffalo with their immaculate fan base.
Yeah, but I mean, it was. I started looking at the stats maybe January or so. I was talking to one of my friends, and I was like, "Yeah." So I was looking at Brodeur's stats the other day, and like he's good, but I mean, the fact that people talk about him being the greatest of all time, and I mean, the one thing people bring up a lot is his puck handling ability, and there's no question. I think he's definitely one of the best ever to handle the puck. The thing is,
absolutely.
I don't want to say he's the best.
They created the trapezoid for him.
The trapezoid. You mean so many people told me they're like, "Oh yeah, you don't know anything about hockey. You don't know that Brodeur."
Hey,
like,
hey, fuck you, man! I'm on the HockeyWriters.com. I know all about hockey.
I mean, I'm not trying to, I know that I didn't put it in there because to me, if you take Pavel Datsyuk, he's a better defensive player than Gretzky.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Gretzky's nowhere in that defensive list. He's a one-way fella. That's all right.
Yeah, but I mean, there's no way you're gonna just be like, oh yeah, I'd rather have Datsyuk on my team than Gretzky. Nobody in their right mind would ever say that.
Right.
So I mean, no matter how good Brodeur was at stopping the puck, and no matter how much he changed the game, I mean, at the end of the day, when you look at stopping the puck, which to me is the prime thing a goaltender is supposed to do, even if he takes away 3 shots a game because he handles the puck better, even if he creates 3 goals a season, I mean, that difference isn't enough to compensate for the fact that he is a massive save percentage differential, not only individually, but even over the course of his career.
Absolutely. When we look back at Dominik Hasek, the one series that I will never forget about Dominik Hasek, because I actually lived in Virginia at the time, right outside of D.C., was that Eastern Conference Finals. I forget what year, maybe 99, 98, perhaps, where the Sabres went up against the Caps. The Caps ended up winning that series. But Dominik Hasek was amazing. And in particular, that Game 5 where they were in Washington's building. I believe it was a 1-1 overtime game. And Hasek was just making save after save after save. I will never forget that game for as long as I live. Because the whole Washington area, they're like, oh, we're going to the Cup tonight. They ended up winning in Game 6. They lost the Game 5. But, my God, Hasek has so many memorable saves. Now, let's move on to the stuff that, some of the things that I agree with you in the article and some of the things I disagree with. First of all, I want 2 comments that I got on my Facebook page today. Now, one Devil, one Ranger fan. So these are pretty funny. So here we go. We got the Devil fan who says, well, tell that sorry-ass Ranger fan Marty is by far the best goalie of his time, and Lundqvist couldn't sharpen his skates. Fair enough. Now, you also got a Ranger fan here, and he says, I want to meet this very intelligent young man. Now, with that in mind, how do you stack Lundqvist up against Brodeur?
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing that I see is when you say, like I was talking to I saw some people and they say, Marty's my favorite goalie of all time and he's the best. There's something wrong with that statement. I mean, like when I was younger, for example,
a little bias there.
Yeah, when I was younger, I used to grow up and the guy I idolized so much when I was watching the NFL was Brett Favre. Yeah. And Brett Favre, he's probably the most fun football player to watch of all time. I mean, I don't care if you think he isn't, but I mean, just the way he played.
I thought you were going to go with Doug Flutie, being from Canada.
Oh yeah, no, Flutie's a great guy. I mean, he played in the CFL like
Flutie's
a little bit before I was. But I mean, he played everywhere. Like I mean, I've watched all the highlights, but I just growing up when I was watching him, Favre. I mean, I love watching the guy play. And for years, I used to get into the most ridiculous arguments. I used to be like, oh, you know, I think Brett Favre's the best quarterback ever. And then like after a while, I was like, yeah, he's pretty good. And then I was like, oh wait. No, he has the touchdown record. And I was like, so he must be the best. But then I realized, I mean, you start to look at the stats. You look at the passer rating. You look at the interceptions. You look at all those things. I mean, he's still great. I have no issue if you like Brodeur or if you like Brett Favre. I mean, another guy, Terry Bradshaw, he won 4 Super Bowls.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can love Brodeur as much as you want. I mean, I just think there's a difference between saying Brodeur's my favorite goalie of all time. There's nobody I like more, and then saying I think he's the greatest, because when it comes down to stopping the puck, which is the prime thing about a goalie, there are other goalies who did it better than him pretty much every year except for one in his career. So, I mean, that's the reason why I see Brodeur as a little overrated when people say he's the greatest, because when it comes down to it, he wasn't the best at the thing that goalies are supposed to be the best at.
Yeah, now, the interesting thing is that you go in on the wins and saying that wins is more of a team stat and not as much as an individual stat. Now, is that kind of like a new look for like the hockey community or like the statisticians, like almost like in baseball, like the sabermetrics guy saying like, you know, wins and losses for pitchers aren't really on them. It's kind of like the play of the game. Is that a new way to look at it now, or?
I don't know. I mean, I remember when I was younger, I used to look at wins, but I mean, the thing is, I feel like wins, it's just so clouded, because when you look at the NFL, for example, people will say, oh, Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl, and they say, oh yeah, Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl, and then it's always, yeah, but. So there's always a but, and I think the thing about wins is, if you look at the NHL right now, Anthony Young is second in the NHL in a win, and anybody who's not a Sharks fan would be absolutely insane if they were like,
hey,
oh yeah, Anthony.
He's got himself a cup.
I mean, he's done well, but I mean.
Nah, you're right. He's nowhere near the top of the list.
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at wins, there's so many issues that happen, and like I said earlier, they answer how many. So I mean, if you're a Devils fan, you're going to point to that and say, oh, I remember all those great things he did. I remember all those great games he won. And I mean, you're right, he did do all those things, but it's not that hard to look at the shot totals year by year and notice. New Jersey, they're first overall. New Jersey, they're second overall. I mean, somebody commented, they said, New Jersey doesn't have the defense they once had. And I mean, that's true. They don't have a Scott Stevens, they don't have a Niedermeyer. But then you look at the NHL stats, and you know who's first in the league in shots against? New Jersey. So I mean, it's like,
so it still holds true.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like they for whatever reason, New Jersey over the years, they've been a great defensive team. And I think people were upset because I said any other goalie could have put up Brodeur's numbers in that system, and I didn't literally mean any goalie. Like, I mean, you're not going to take a guy who can't make the NHL and just be like, yeah, just go play there for 20 years. Like,
yeah,
but
you can't just stick Milek street pads on a guy and throw him out there. That ain't happening.
No, but I mean, like I mentioned, like if you were to take a guy like Hasek, if you were to take a guy who has put up the numbers like Lundqvist, if you were to take a guy like anybody who has as good a save percentage as Brodeur did, if you were to take any of those guys, and they were lucky enough to stay healthy for 20 years, they would have, like, there's no doubt in my mind, and there's no way you can really say, oh yeah, he would have had the higher save percentage, but the team would have been worse. Like, that doesn't really hold a lot of water to me.
Well, I mean, they changed the rules for that defense, basically, right? I mean, the whole trap that they had going, right? I mean, the NHL basically kind of banned it, I mean, to a certain extent, right? I mean, so it's like...
Well, yeah, I mean, I know when we were talking earlier, I told you, I mean, I've been to plenty of Devils games, you know, where the Tampa Bay Lightning, that's basically when I go to Devils games, but, you know, Tampa Bay Lightning, they'll put up like 16 shots in the game, they'll have 4 goals, but on the same effect, you know, a lot of the shutouts, and I know you were comparing in the article to... Net Detective Jim Carrey. I was also living in the D.C. area for that too, for that whole craze, the mask even. But yeah, it's amazing how few shots that Brodeur has seen. Now, I meant to get into the things that I agree with you and disagree with you with, but you know, I think that the overall point here that Devils fans are trying to make is that the goalie position for the Devils has been solidified for 2 decades, and over and above all, you know, isn't that the most important thing?
See, the thing is, I mean, you can put a billion words to describe Brodeur, and I have no issue with that. But you can say he's legendary. I don't disagree with that. You can say he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't disagree with that. You can say he was a great goaltender. I don't disagree with that. You can say he's the best goaltender the Devils have ever had. I don't disagree with that. You can say he's my favorite goaltender. But when you say he's the best goalie of all time, I mean, he really needs to be able to stop the puck better than anyone else. And, I mean, regardless of whatever you see, in his era, he was not the best at stopping the puck. Like, if he played 50 years ago and he had the best save percentage in that era, and then you could say, oh, okay, it's hard to compare eras, but in his era, he was never the best. Like, this, I mean, as much as people like to discredit stats, I just don't know how you can look at save percentage and not see it as an issue. I mean... Yeah, that's. I mean, save percentage to me. There's always other ways you can analyze it. Like you could look at penalty kill save percentage and even strength save percentage. But the gap between him and Hasek or him and Waugh, him and other guys like even Lundqvist, he's way ahead of him in save percentage. There's things that I mean, there's things that contribute to a legacy that make a goaltender great and that make a goaltender a Hall of Fame goaltender. But that doesn't mean they're actually better at their job than anybody else. Like if you took Brodeur into the Cup final and his team scored 1 less goal a game and he played the exact same way, I mean, I don't see why you judge him on the rest of his team's play. And if you take him into a game and he lets in 2 goals and his team wins 7-2 or he loses 2-0, why are you judging Brodeur for the win in that game either? It's just save percentage it's not perfect, but it's the best individual stat out there. And like I said, year by year and over the course of his career, there were far, far better goaltenders than Brodeur almost every year.
All right. No, Adam, 100% agree. I mean, we'll talk about, you know, Brodeur. You know, we could go on forever about this. But so who do you like this year in the playoffs? Give us like a pick from the East and a pick from the West.
And then a winner, of course.
Well, I picked. I'll just go with my playoff pool today. I picked San Jose over Boston in the final.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, the thing is, as a Leafs fan, I don't have to explain my issues with Boston. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. But
no, I hear you there. That was a rough series last year.
Yeah, I don't even remember. But I mean, I mean, Boston. I think the problem with people is. I don't know how much you guys dig into the advanced stats of hockey, but I mean the thing is with people, it's basically if you start looking at the advanced stats, those teams are both very good at them, and people tend to say there's so many things about hockey that can't be quantified, but at the end of the day, all hockey really is a game of shooting the puck and scoring goals. And
boom.
I mean, when you look at both those teams, they're both very deep all around. They both got pretty solid guys in net. Rask obviously has the upper hand, but I mean, once it gets down to it, I think they're 2 very equal teams. And I mean, I don't know if they'll go all the way, but I'm a guy who likes to pick the favorite because it's more likely that they'll win.
You know what I mean? Like it's a smarter move.
That's
more
true.
time.
Yeah,
it works out.
I mean, I'm not cheering for either of those teams to succeed at this point. Like, I honestly, that's what I'm trying to learn about, like getting into this field of being a blogger and like being an amateur writer. I mean, I don't think I could ever give up that fandom that I have of certain teams.
No.
Yeah, it's very tough. It's very tough.
Like it's tough, but I mean, at the same time, you need to, for the other 29 teams in the league, even like your most bitter rivals, you need to try and objectify yourself. You need to distance it. You need to say, you need to stop making excuses like for the stats. I think that's the main thing you need to do.
No,
and like if, I mean, you can say that I don't know. You can say that one team has a great defense, but if the stats don't prove it, if they give up X number of shots a game, then you can be like, then you're just going to start making excuses for that happens. And so I think it's really important to start looking at things like shots on goal. And I don't know if you go more into it. There's stuff like Corsi. I don't know if you guys know anything about that.
No.
But it's basically, well, there's all these new metrics about, they basically show shot attempts. So it's not just counting what hits the net, but it's counting basically if you shoot the puck, regardless if it goes in, it shows your percentage of how often your team shoots the puck versus the other team. And the idea is if you're shooting the puck more often, you have a more often chance to score. If you're giving up less shots, you have a less often chance to give up a goal. And I mean, when you look at stats like that, Boston and San Jose, they're both very good at them. Not saying that other teams in the league aren't, but I mean, that combined with the fact that they're both very deep in the forward lines, they've got some solid defense. Like I said, they've got goaltenders, and I mean, it's just a little bit of, I feel like San Jose hasn't won one yet, and this might be their year.
All right, man.
Well, we gotta go. Thank you very much. I mean, you're by far the most influential hockey voice that we've had on this show so far. And we had Kevin Gumas, UNH standout, just got signed by the Flyers. Probably provided more hockey insight than we could ever ask for on this show. We appreciate it very much. Anytime we have a hockey question, you're the guy that we're coming back to. Have fun up there in Canada, and continued success. And I know why you put the title on there, trying to get the views and the like. You did a great job with that, my man. Way to go!
Thanks a lot, Adam.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Bye.
All right, you got it. All right, that was Adam. Adam Laskaris. You can follow him on Twitter. That's Adam_Laskaris. I'm going to go with the NHL prediction to myself. I didn't want to get in with him while he was on air because, we would have been here even longer, and Cole's been able to do the news. But I'm going with Boston over St. Louis in the finals, and I'm going with that in five games.
St. Louis, a little Oshie over there, huh?
Yeah. I like St. Louis. They've been the top dog out west, and then they kind of slipped up at the end.
I'm picking the Rangers. Freaking home team, baby. Let's go.
Who they playing in the West?
What?
Who they playing in the West? Detroit?
Anaheim.
Detroit?
I'm stealing Boomer's pick. Anaheim.
In 7-2?
6.
Oh, all right.
Damn, son.
They're doing it on home ice. All right, when we get back, it is time for the Cole's News Network. Cole's got a man in studio today.
What?
Should we bring him on the air, too?
Oh, yeah.
The old lefty on the mound. Yeah, get it, son. Damn, son.
All right.
Kind of.